Hey, it's Dr. Charles, aka CoachMD. In my over 30 years of medical practice, I've made it my goal to help you create a great life by achieving a strong mind, a healthy body, and an unshakable spirit. And to do this, we have to stay well informed. This article I'd like to go over, which was from Reuters, July 14th of this year, 2021. U.S. drug overdose deaths rise 30% to record during pandemic. This is horrific. This is a horrific after effect of the pandemic. And let's look at this. A record number of Americans died of drug overdoses last year as pandemic lockdowns made getting treatment difficult and dealers laced more drugs with a powerful synthetic opioid, according to data released on Wednesday and health officials. U.S. deaths from drug overdoses leapt nearly 30% to more than 93,000 deaths in 2020, the highest ever recorded. Boy, this is so sad, so sad. During the pandemic, a lot of drug programs weren't able to operate. Street-level outreach was very difficult. People were very isolated, said Dr. Joshua Sharfstein, a health policy expert at the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health in Baltimore. It's very sad, very sad. Armin Medella, 24, recognizes he was at risk of being among those who died. A recovering addict, he relapsed during the pandemic and was using fentanyl, a synthetic opioid that is 80 to 100 times stronger than morphine and heroin. Fentanyl is out there, and fentanyl can be prescribed by physicians. For those who have end-stage cancer, for instance, it's a very effective painkiller, but it's much stronger, as it says right here, 80 to 100 times stronger than morphine and heroin. It's horrible. It's horrible, and this is such a I just can't. It's horrible. It's obviously it's nothing good about this. It's so easy to pass away from using drugs nowadays just because of the amount of fentanyl out there. A lot of people in the past were able to relapse and come back, but nowadays that's not the case, he said. Now, as a physician, I've seen patients who have been on fentanyl. I've seen people struggle to get off of that. I've told patients and friends who I've advised them not to go on this medication if they could do anything to relieve their pain but going on that medication, because it can take years for a regular person. Let's say somebody doesn't have a drug problem, who goes on fentanyl, a patch, or the fentanyl lozenges that they have that you can suck on like lollipops. Those medications, it can take years to get off of them. And it's obviously in the wrong hands, and people who have a serious issues can die from this. So this gentleman, Mr. Medella, checked himself into rehab a second time in October. He says, I actually know quite a few people personally that have unfortunately passed away since then from the overdose. While overdose deaths were already increasing in the months preceding the COVID-19 outbreak, the latest data show a stark acceleration during the pandemic. Now, I know you care about this stuff. You want to better yourself. You're tuning into my channel because of that. I talk about helping our mind, body, and spirit. Obviously, to do that, we must stay well informed. And I'll encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit the little bell to be notified when I have a new video that I'm putting out. And let me know your comments, your feelings about this. What were your experiences during the pandemic? Did you know anybody who unfortunately suffered this horrible fate? What are your ideas? What are your thoughts about what might be leading to this increase? I'd like to hear from you. Let me know. I really would. Social distancing reduced access to programs, and that's really important to understand. Social distancing reduced access to programs that offer needle exchange, opioid substitution therapy, or safe injection sites where observers could deploy the overdose antidote, Narcan, leaving many addicts to die alone. Narcan is an antidote. You give it, you're going. I mean, the effects of the drug, it competes with the receptors of the drug, and you're back to normal, and you can get the help that you need. But without that, you die, and it's an ugly death. You basically suffocate because the opioids, they decrease your respirations, so you can't breathe and you die in your own secretions. It's really horrible, and you suffocate. Moreover, during stay-at-home orders, addicts were unable to attend support group meetings in person or visit their therapists for live one-on-one sessions. Pandemic lockdowns and distancing likely contributed to the rise in overdose deaths in less obvious ways too. Isolation is a known factor in anxiety and depression, and I think we all experienced this when we had to have these lockdowns and we were isolated and quarantined. If you didn't have a support network, I was fortunate. My whole family was together, but it was a challenge for all of us. But we were together and we had a support group. But when you don't have that, anxiety and depression are rampant. And Kate Judd, program director at Shoreline Recovery Center at San Diego rehab facility that Mandela went to, reiterates this. Those feelings can lead to drug abuse. People are looking for an escape. The drugs themselves become more deadly as well. Drug suppliers more frequently mix fentanyl with cocaine and methamphetamine to boost their effects, said Nora Volko, director of the National Institute of Drug Abuse at the National Institutes of Health. Where are these coming from, right? Give me your ideas. Where do you think the drugs are coming from? I'd like to hear from you. I have a pretty good idea where they're coming from. The drug dealers are well, I'm not going to get into any political discussion, but I think that drug dealers are very happy with some of the policy decisions that have been made recently. That's all I'm going to say. Let me know what you think is where they're coming from. The type of drugs that are now available are much more dangerous, Volko said. Closing national borders did not staunch the flow of fentanyl as hoped. Instead, it accelerated. Well, I'm not sure about that. That's an opinion. I don't know how it could accelerate if the source of this is coming from other countries. The biggest supplier of illicit fentanyl is China, actually. So how is that getting into the country? The fentanyl that is produced in the country, sure, it is manufactured by drug companies for the relief of severe cancer pain, that sort of thing, and it is obtained illegally, but the vast majority of the deadly fentanyl and the production of illicit fentanyl is coming from foreign countries, mainly China. And check me on that. If that's not, fact check me on that. If that's not true, show me the sources. I'd like to know them, and show me the sources where they're being produced. I like that. I think I know, but maybe I'm wrong. The deadly combination. Okay. Now, the type of drugs are now available much more dangerous, as we said. The deadly combination of events resulted in 93,331 overdose deaths in 12 months ending in December 2020, compared with an estimated 72,151 deaths in 2019, according to provisional data for the National Center for Health Statistics. Now, that's pretty bad, too, in 2019, okay? But the fact that it's going up is really horrific. The data showed opioids were involved in 74.7% of overdose deaths, rising to close to 70,000 in 2020 from 51,000 in 2019. So that's a big jump. We do know the primary driver of the increase in deaths involves synthetic opioids, primarily fentanyl, Bob Anderson said. Most U.S. states were swept by the trend, Anderson said, with the highest increases in overdose deaths seen in Vermont. Wow. Up 57.6%, followed by Kentucky, up 54%, South Carolina, up 52%, West Virginia, up nearly 50%, and California, up 46%. On a day-to-day basis, Sharfstein estimated the United States is now seeing more overdose deaths with COVID-19 deaths. More overdose deaths than COVID-19 deaths. Repeat that again. More overdose deaths than COVID-19 deaths. It's important to understand. So we have to understand that if lockdowns and quarantines are required, we have to think, are they truly required? Because that's a big decision. That's just not a decision. Okay, we're having more upticks in cases, and it's not overwhelming our healthcare system. But let's lock down to prevent that, just in case. Well, these have unintended consequences. You have to understand that it's very important to consider all the types of consequences. This is a different kind of crisis, and it's not going away as quickly. Think about this. Let me know what you feel. Until next time, I'm Dr. Charles, a.k.a. CoachMD, urging you, if you are depressed, anxious, if you feel a tendency to turn to drugs or you have a problem, please seek help. There's a lot of help out there. Stay strong in mind, in body, and in soul. Bye for now.
Dr. Charles, CoachMD. Thanks for stopping by. Make sure to like and comment below. I'd love to hear from you. If you think you have a friend who might benefit from this video, share it with them. For access to exclusive content, support my Patreon. There you'll get private access to videos, meditations, health tips, even relationship and financial tips. You'll have a say in what I produce and be able to participate in a monthly call with me. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. See you soon.